Actually, before I start, I just want to do one thing real quick on my device here. All right, cool. I actually just voted. I had a conversation with my government just through my handheld device. You might be asking how I was able to do that and what I just did. I was able to give my opinion on whether or not a children's hospital should be built just 6 kilometers away from where I live. I'm able to do this right now because today I'm coming to you from the year 2050. You might be wondering like how I'm able to actually create these micro interactions with this government, whether it's at the local level, the state level, or the national level. And you'll understand, or you could see that like I just was able to vote on the children's hospital, if it should be built. I can also reach out to give my opinion on the state level, whether they should enact these new type of regulations around cargo drone policies, and then also on the national level to even give my voice and give my opinion and make it heard on whether they should do their second manned mission to Mars, the one that's between the UAE and with NASA. And so you could kind of understand where this came from back in the early 2010s when Facebook was able to start delivering this customized news feed that you'd be receiving just on a daily basis. It's somewhat similar to that, but instead of a customized news feed, you're getting a customized government feed. You're able to have personalized information and personalized policies directed to you based on who you are, based on where you come from, based on your family, based on what you do. And this all plays into a part of creating a more inclusive and much more inclusive and much more egalitarian government and citizen interaction. And what I'm going to say is that I just came from the citizen point of view of being able to talk to my government, and I was able to create that one data point of saying, yes, I want this children's hospital to be built. So then what happens with that data point? That'll actually go to a decision-making committee within the government. And this decision-making committee could be an individual, it could be a whole entity, whatnot. But it's part of a government that is based on 3 things. One, it is project-oriented. 2, it's distributed. And 3, it's enabling. And so when we talk about project-oriented, we're imagining that our government in the year 2050 will be able to actually take on new initiatives that arise due to society changes. And instead of having a place where this initiative will be within the puzzle of the governmental structure, for example, drone regulation, does that go under the Ministry of Aviation? Does that go under the Ministry of Transport? What we actually do is we create mission-based teams that could come together and pull all the resources from every aspect of the government, whether it's human capital, technology, to allow these mission-based teams to be much more agile and much more effective and much more timely in meeting the quick changes of society. Second, a distributed government. This is coming to the point where back in the 2010s, it was more of, is it going to be centralized or is the pendulum going to swing to a decentralized government? What we see now is a completely distributed government that's based on connectivity and integration. So if I go back to where the citizen was able to create that one data point, his opinion on the children's hospital. That data point was then brought to the government and put into an aggregated data set of the full stakeholder opinions. So now this decision-making committee has an understanding of where their citizens' stake is, while at the same time within this distributed structure be able to reach out, whether it's to find the predictive financial modeling of what will be the impact of this children's hospital based on what's the predictive outcome on the economic or social sense, all from reaching out throughout a completely connected government. And then this leads to, once you're able to provide the information and deliver the details of creating this much more inclusive, open viewpoint for government decision makers, how do you actually enact this policy? And so this is part of enabling. We see that there was this big structure called public procurement, and it often was very slow moving, very timely to account for governance, but left open holes for corruption. And so what we learned was from the shared economy that came around in the 2010s, you were actually able to take on major projects and split them into very small, manageable pieces that wouldn't just be shared with one contractor or one entity, but could be split out and actually disperse the responsibility and the value created throughout the whole private economy and then society as a whole. And so what does this lead to? This leads to agile policy making on the side of the government, meaning that they have the information readily available to them with the support of technology, be able to bring it to the right level of government, whether it's the state level, the national level, and have an inherent feedback loop because they could still communicate in real time to their society, to their stakeholders, to their citizens. And what does this mean actually to the citizens? It means that they are no longer at the bottom of a triangle where the top is just where there's closed off information and closed off decision making. That triangle is actually flipped so that they're the ones on top and they're the ones producing and providing the opinions to those that are then going to make that decision at the end of the day. And what we want to touch upon too is just how did we get here? How we got here was through three main areas. One, revamping of education. We were able to, of course, connect and reach out to all the villages and all the classrooms, but we weren't just teaching the basic 1, 2, 3s and ABCs. We changed it to actually skills that citizens needed to provide positively to society. That meant whether it's coding or programming, or whether it's the idea creation and the project management abilities. At the same time, we made a big push towards openness and connectivity within the government, but also with the private sector, because we were able to realize the shared value that comes about when you actually provide, or when you actually open up your data, take away the proprietary boundaries to it, and are allowed to actually create more value from being able to provide from the public side and the private side to better society. And then third, going around and making people trust technology to support their society. And this, of course, meant through cybersecurity, but also on the other end, taking into account accountability and traceability with blockchain technology. And so what does this lead to at the very end? You have a project-oriented, distributing, enabling government that opens up and maintains a positive dialogue with the citizens, while at the same time, with the support of technology, develop a government that at the end of the day is still driven by people.